Hello and welcome to another episode of the Golden Hour Podcast, brought to you by the Polar Pro Studio. I'm your host, Dave Mays, and joined, as always, with my good friend Connor McCaskill. Connor, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, Dave.
So here we are. If you watched last week's episode, this set looks familiar. This is actually my dad's office.
Yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad.
It's really like not terrible.
Portable setup, right?
Yeah, he's got these nice gray walls.
Yeah.
And
gray walls are superior.
Always superior.
Always superior. White walls, everyone thinks white walls are going to be better for light and for getting like color if you want to do LED splashes. No, it's always gray walls. You're going to have a little bit less reflection off of everything when you're trying to light it.
Yeah.
And then the color shows up a little more true in terms of what color it actually is.
Yeah, it's crazy. With a gray wall, if you throw RGB lights on it, it just absorbs all that color. Mm-hmm. And if you have, I think these are probably a little too dark to do that with. You could still do that, but
I actually prefer a little darker gray.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
I work with my cousins, with the wedding stuff, and we're building a set for them. And I was like, yeah, it would be great if we had like semi-light gray. She's like, no, we're all white.
Well, they're very
bright.
Their look is, I mean, it's not a nice, it's overexposed, but like it looks good.
Yeah.
I guess is the way to say it.
It's like, that very light, airy kind of look.
Almost like angelic in a way.
Yeah. And then for video review guys and camera gearheads, we like the kind of dark gray,
moody contrast lines.
Wear black all the time to everything.
Well, here we are.
So how was your weekend? We're recording this the week after 4th of July.
Yep.
It's our first time being back to Nashville for a while.
Right, yeah.
At this time of year.
A lot more fireworks in Tennessee than California, which actually it makes a lot of sense. I'm not opposed to not launching fireworks in California.
Yeah, you could start a bonfire.
Because literally the entire state's a tinderbox. So it makes a bit of sense. But here, everything's wet all the time. The air is wet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sweating right now, and it's not even, we're indoors.
Yeah, so the humidity here is a little different. So there was fireworks everywhere. It was really nice. Nashville actually put on, I think, the largest show in the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Is that in the news or something?
Yeah, and I think this is the second time they've had the largest show, which is pretty snazzy. I didn't go to that because, I mean, it was, shoulder to shoulder in downtown Nashville. It was pretty crazy.
Expected to be the
largest. But that was 6 days ago. I guess
the largest ever.
Maybe it's hard to calculate. Oh, largest ever?
Biggest fireworks show ever.
That's pretty
it's
cool.
It's such a headline.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. Yeah. But you did something super fun. I called you to talk about the show, and you're like, "Hey, I'm doing something with my buddies. Tell us what you did."
Yeah, on the 3rd, I went rafting down in Gatlinburg, or just out past Gatlinburg. We were right on the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. When we pulled up to the river drop-in point, it said "Welcome to North Carolina." So there you go.
Oh wow!
But it was a lot of fun. I love whitewater rafting. It's been a while.
Did you do that like this kind of thing?
Actually, quite literally. It might have been that company that looks a lot like.
Oh, so you all went into one raft?
Yeah, exactly. So I was on the back of the raft with our guide, because you go down with the guide, and he was really cool. But it was his first year. There you go. It was his first year leading the rafting tour, so he was only a couple weeks in, and he was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna get close enough to this big rock." He called it a BFR. Big friendly rock. That's what he said.
Big friendly rock.
And he's like, "Hey, we're gonna get close enough to where you can like touch it with your paddle." And we were like, "Oh, okay." So my buddy Malachi and I, we're on the left side, and that's the side that's going towards the raft. We're like, "Okay, sick." We're going up, and we're going pretty fast, and we're like, "Oh my, we're going really fast." He's like, "Okay, we're gonna get ready to touch the rock." Oh, we're going a little fast. Okay, we're just gonna hit the rock, and
my gosh,
bam, slammed into this rock, and pretty high speed, but
nobody fell out.
Nobody fell out. We were all fine.
That's good.
I mean, the raft's essentially a big pillow, so we just kind of bounced off and kept going. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's awesome. My 4th of July weekend was pretty cool.
I went to the International Hot Chicken Festival on the 4th of July.
Oh, I thought you were about to say the International House of Pancakes. I thought you were just going to be like, I went to IHOP.
I actually did something.
Okay.
It's rare
that?
for me to like actually do stuff these days with kids, but my parents watched The Boys. I'm trying to find a picture here I could pull up. Yeah, here you go. My wife and I, we went to the International Hot Chicken Festival
Where was that?
About 1,000 people. It was in East Nashville.
Okay.
And man, it was.
You made it into Nashville?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get out?
Oh, it wasn't too bad actually.
Oh, really?
Getting in there, yeah. But I mean, there was a ton of people.
That's like
there.
in 140p.
Yeah,
360. There you go.
That's terrible quality. I'm in Google Photos, so.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a ton of people. It was a lot of fun, and there's Laura. Do you like hot chicken?
I've never had it in Nashville.
Oh my gosh! So this is a guy making it here.
Yeah.
As I look at this photo, I'm not too proud of putting that in my body.
It looks a little bit disgusting, to be honest, but I'm sure it tastes good.
So good.
Yeah, it's just fried food with pickle and hot sauce and on a piece of bread. Like, how bad can that be?
It's unique. It's they when they fry it, apparently they apply the hot sauce, and so it's a different type of heat. It's not just pouring hot sauce on it.
It's world renowned. They even serve it at KFC at this point, so like has to be pretty dang good, I imagine. But I've never had it in Nashville. I've only had it out and about in Cali and other places like that.
Which is not true.
And it was okay.
It's like saying I've had Tex-Mex. Have you had Tex-Mex in Texas? It's like no. It's like, well, then you haven't.
Yeah.
Because you have to be where that originated to get the true authentic experience.
For sure. Yeah.
Just like most of us haven't had true Italian pizza. You know?
I have.
But you have.
In Naples. Yeah.
Screw you, man.
And it was great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what did it taste like?
It tastes like pizza. But no, it tasted better than it was like it tasted fresh and like you could tell this was made in the brick oven. It was great.
Remember we had pizza in Germany that was amazing?
Yeah, that little dinky pizza shop. I don't even remember. You have pictures of that. No way.
Yeah. Google Photos, September 29th, 2018.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I guess
you got a calzone.
I got a calzone. There it is. I'm saying. Oh, it's you.
I got the calzone.
I got the pizza. That makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh yeah,
look at us. We're wearing like warm clothes. Was it chilly? I don't remember. It must have been.
I think it was just average. Yeah.
You weren't doing a bit either. I was just filming you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I'm sure I was doing a bit. Yeah, that looks good. Salami,
it was so good.
Corn.
Yeah. I mean,
spinach.
Germany's got good stuff. But that was at Photokina where I met Kai for the first time.
Yeah.
Who we had recently on the show.
Yeah, that was a really fun trip. Unfortunately, Photokina is kind of
it's over now.
It's over, which you guys talked about in that other podcast. So.
Yeah, it's sad days. But anyways,
should we talk about like cameras now?
Yeah, moving on to so it's a lackluster week for camera news.
Unfortunately, but I mean, there's still some stuff to talk about for sure.
But yeah, I mean, we'll start off with Canon, our tried and true. First off, the R6 and the 1DX Mark III are both getting log 3.
Which is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting the R6 to get log 3.
Yeah, because that's kind of the lower end mirrorless.
Exactly.
It's obvious that the R5 would get it, but...
Well, I don't know if it's obvious. I honestly thought they would leave that for just like the C series cameras. Yeah. But no, yeah, they threw it into the R series now, which it's pretty cool. I mean, C-Log 3 is great. So
and then I only saw this on News Shooter, simultaneous video recording the two cards as well on the R6. So you can record a backup, you know, on an additional card, which is wonderful.
That's great. I mean, I've literally never used that feature in any camera, but it's useful for people who need it. Like I've never been like, I record YouTube videos. It's like, something happened. All right, we'll just shoot it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, it's nothing hypercritical like that, really.
I guess if you're a wedding shooter,
that could be.
I never did that either.
Living on the edge.
Yeah, living on the edge for weddings.
Yeah.
But I could see how maybe some shooters would want that if you're shooting a wedding.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because you can't reshoot a wedding.
Yeah. No, you cannot.
And then 1DX Mark III, this camera continues to live on. It's actually technically a newer camera.
Yeah.
But it's just an old dinosaur type of body, and they don't support EF or they're not making EF lenses anymore.
Right.
So we know it's going to be dying out, but I'm glad they're updating it.
They made it, like you said, for the Olympics, I feel like. And it's like this was made for people who had the 1DX Mark II for the new Olympics. They already have a ton of glass, so all they wanted was a new body that could do slightly better photos and maybe video.
We interviewed Jamie Price. He's a motorsport photographer.
Yeah.
And he shoots on the D4, I think, or something like that from Nikon. And that's what he was saying. He's like, I've got $30,000 in these lenses. You know, I've got all these lenses. I've spent $40,000 on them. I don't want to buy a new camera.
Right.
And so these types of photographers, like, it's all about the glass. They have these huge 600 millimeter lenses to do sports. And they're like, I don't, you know, you could put an adapter on it, but I feel like with an adapter, you start to deal with issues with build quality and weather sealing.
You're putting another thing between your really nice, expensive piece of glass and your camera. So
yeah, exactly.
As much as possible, it's good to, you know, what's the word? Mitigate that? Is that the right word?
Everybody go listen to my interview with Jamie Price. I'll link it in the description. I loved talking to him about gear because I find that so fascinating. They're almost like, those types of photographers are almost like the athletes of the photography community because they're photographing athletes, but the process of photographing the athletes is also extremely athletic.
Did you see the video of the Olympic? I don't know if it's fake now. Now I'm thinking about it. There's like a guy.
Crash?
No, he's well, I don't know if it was a crash. I'm talking about there's this guy who was running with a camera and a gimbal recording these like sprinters, and he was keeping pace with the sprinters while holding the gimbal.
I think it's this.
Oh, did he end up?
It was on a Segway.
Did he? Oh, no, not a Segway. This guy was running.
Is it this?
No, I'm not talking about this. What's this?
You never saw that?
No.
Oh.
That's bad. You know, that guy's body's probably insured.
Look.
Oh.
He hits this like Olympic athlete with his Segway.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm talking about at all. There was a camera gimbal op that was keeping pace with runners, and he was sprinting with them.
Oh.
And it was pretty funny. Yeah,
this is it.
Yeah, that guy.
A university student in China went viral after footage of him sprinting alongside a track while filming a 100-meter dash.
Yeah, and he was like keeping pace with or beating him out maybe. It's pretty crazy, actually.
Keep an eye on this.
I mean, he did get a little bit of a head start.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
Look at that.
But look at this guy, man. He should be competing because he's doing it while holding a gimbal. Like, that's not...
Yeah, it's like...
That's not... Look at this kid.
It's like, wait a minute. We're watching these other guys race, and this guy's got a gimbal, and nobody cares about him, and he's beating everyone else.
Yeah.
Holding a gimbal.
I mean, that's pretty fantastic.
It's kind of like the judge on that race is like, wait, should we give this to this guy?
Yeah, like, did he win? I don't know.
He's like, no, I'm not competing. It's like... Okay.
Well, you should next year, kid.
I wonder if back to the 1DX firmware. I wonder if they'll ever update my beloved 1DC.
Yeah. No. They won't. As much as that would be pretty cool, I will say the 1DC 1DX series camera has a mean shutter. Dude, it sounds kind of like a gun, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's a big hunk of metal, so it just feels like a piece of real machinery.
Yeah.
Unlike some of these mirrorless cameras, especially like this one that I'm shooting on, the Olympus, just feels kind of plasticky.
Well, yeah, because
although I mean, that one's better than others, but still. So that leads us to the Nikon Z9 rumors kind of coming out, and
yeah, this looks like it's going to be their competitor to the
R3.
R3. Yeah, I was going to say R5 because it's doing 8K recording, but you're right, R3 or the like Sony A1.
Yeah,
it's kind of a thing.
It's again taking this kind of body idea into the mirrorless world, which hasn't really existed until recently with the A1 and with the R3.
Right.
So I mean, it's not a surprise that this is happening. Nikon has to keep up with everybody else. And,
sure. And honestly, their Z cameras are pretty decent. You know, like I don't dislike their cameras at all. They were all around good cameras. I like other cameras better.
Yeah.
But like that's just, you know, it can come down to personal taste.
Well, I feel like if you were given a good Z camera or a Sony camera, you would probably pick the Nikon, right? Well, maybe not anymore.
I don't know.
A couple years
ago, for sure. But the A7S III, I've been using it with Zach more and more, and it is growing on me.
The colors aren't bad either.
The colors aren't bad. That's really what's growing on me about it. I still hate the ergonomics, but Nikon's ergonomics are pretty funky to me as well.
They're not going to...
Also, focus rings backwards.
Yeah, focus is backwards. There's no flip screen on it. It's not built for video at all. The A7S is such a video camera.
Right. And I do remember when the Z6 first came out, there was like this crazy delay on the LCD screen when recording 4K. It was terrible. It was like a second. Yeah, it was pretty bonkers, but I'm sure they've fixed it by now. I mean, that was right when it first came out. All these cameras these days, it kind of feels like they're releasing beta cameras and they're like, oh, but we'll fix it eventually with updates, you know? It's like the R5 when it came out had all the overheating issues.
Where was the Photokina one that we did? Photokina.
Z9?
Yeah, wasn't it Z9 that we looked at, or was it the Z6?
It's not the Z9. Z9 is brand new.
Yeah, you're right.
Z6,
Z7, that was it.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Obviously, that was. Yeah, so the reason I pull this up is because I remember in this video I show that delay, I think.
Oh, was it even present way back? Did we get to turn it on?
Yeah, they let us like hold it and turn it on and everything. Got to talk to this guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Remember how much hustle we had back then?
Oh, dude.
It was just like, you can almost see it in my energy. I was just like, so tell me about this thing. Yeah. Like, it's really cool. Tell me. Like, I was so jazzed. Yeah. Like, the fact that we were able to be in freaking Germany shooting YouTube videos.
The energy was high.
It was like,
in general.
I couldn't ever dream the success that we had.
Well, it's like we were doing stuff with Hasselblad. We're getting into the back rooms of these things with these guys that are letting us like hold pre-released cameras, and we're just like two bozos. And we're like,
we get to meet Kai, we got to hang out with Andrew Reed and Dan Chung.
Dude, that was a fun night. That was fun.
It was a fun like trip, and I feel like I showed the delay at some point here, where like I put my hand and then you see.
Yeah.
It was so bad that like
it was a full on second. But again, they've probably have.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. Yeah. So you can see like the camera's moving before the screen is moving, so to speak.
And even at this time, this was in 2018, that was rare. I never really saw cameras with that much of a delay.
No, I can't think of a camera that had that issue.
I mean,
that we messed with.
Like even the 5D Mark II that I shot on in 2008 didn't have that issue.
Right.
So like it was kind of weird to see it, and that translated through the HDMI as well with the Atomos.
Mm-hmm.
But we used this camera for like probably 6 months or longer on Kinotika as our primary camera.
And it looks good. Like Nikon colors are good. Like that is one thing to say. You know?
I love the lenses too. They balanced really well on the body.
Yeah, they were very compact lenses, which was nice. But they did have what was it, like you turned it to unlock it? Was that Nikon?
No.
Oh.
Wasn't
it Nikon?
Yeah. There was you're referring to the 24-70 that they had.
Yeah.
Where there's like a compact mode.
Right.
So when you pack it in your bag, you can zoom it in and it collapses
like farther than it would normally if it was just at 24.
But that means too that if you turn the camera on, you can't shoot until you zoom out a little bit.
Zach and I used a Sony lens like that recently, and I think overall it's just kind of clunky. And it's a fun
nice
idea. It's kind of like, I feel like, with cameras, we got to the thing where we're like, how small can we make things? Mm-hmm. And I think now we're maybe pushing away from that to like, okay, now how good can we make things?
Yeah, I mean, just like we're looking at here with the Z9,
Yeah,
it's not small at all, and it's a mirrorless camera. But
it's going to be chunky.
Guaranteed this will be smaller and lighter than the traditional D series from Nikon.
Well, I mean, they're literally removing things out of the camera, so of course it's going to be a little smaller. It'll be thinner, if anything. Yeah,
I mean, the specs are 8K. Various other video specs. What does that mean? Various other video specs? Nice. Very vague there.
Mm-hmm.
4K 120, 20 frames per second for stills. That's keeping
shutter.
Up with Sony. 2x QD. That was one of the things about Nikon that was odd. It was a weird camera.
The XQD cards.
Card. I liked it. It was a beefy, like,
it's
professional,
more reliable.
It's a very reliable card, fast.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just like, oh crap, I forgot my card. Let me go to Best Buy. Like,
yeah.
Although Best Buy might have them, but like
maybe now. But even still, it's like your buddy doesn't have one probably.
Yeah.
You know, if you need to like borrow a card for some reason.
And certainly no computers have a built-in XQD
But I remember
card
when
slot.
that card was in the Z6, you and I feel like we were talking about like, oh, XQD, like SD card's going away. This is the next one. But SD card's still here.
Still here. Still
here.
chugging.
Still kicking.
I think the cool thing about the card slot in the Nikon was that it was compatible with CFX Type B as well, or whatever this is.
Yeah.
So that's a more traditional. I think the C500 has that or something, or the Sony A7S can do that as well. Anyways, it's cool. It's a cool card slot because it can do both formats.
Right.
But still, it's definitely a very pro card. You can't just go to Walgreens and buy one, which I've done before when I think we were in LA doing the Hasselblad shoot and I forgot a card and we bought one at like a CVS. So anyways, that's our Z talk for the day. Moving on to our next topic, which is this really interesting thing from Manfrotto of all people.
I don't know what this is, so I'm curious.
So here's the issues with video conferencing. You're, in your kitchen and your wife is making tea in the back.
It happens every time.
And, those Zoom like green screen effects are terrible.
Yeah.
So
window glare, that's the worst.
So Manfrotto has a solution.
This feels like an infomercial. It's like.
It really does. Look at it. The solution is these metal poles.
Quick setup.
This video is hilarious. They're making it look as if it's like
it's
probably got that music where it's like
yeah. It's just a backdrop.
It's just a nice backdrop. But it's like it looks like he's at a photo studio or something. But here, before and what do you do? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in your way there. I mean, it looks pretty amateurish still, but it's a cool idea that...
It's not a bad idea.
And look at this one, a bookshelf.
Nice. It's kind of crappy looking bookshelves.
They took a picture of a bookshelf and there's like... You can see the like nails
the wire
and the wire and the issues. It's like the photography of it looks terrible. Like
I think maybe it was the point to make it look like someone's actual home bookshelf. It's not so great.
I would probably get this with just like a gray, or this is a nice. Honestly, I like this for green screen. Like for a YouTube setup, using this as a green screen is really clean and simple.
Yeah,
if you're like
looks lightweight.
I feel like they're marketing it for the Zoom world that we live in now.
Yeah, the Zoom era.
But I would do another market with this product for gamers because that would.
Oh yeah, it's like a Twitch streaming background.
Yeah, they should not just have these like professional backdrops. They should also have some really crazy Elgato inspired like gamer backgrounds.
Sure. Yeah, that's not a bad idea actually.
You can take my idea, Manfrotto.
Yeah.
Manfrotto is one of those companies that's owned by, what's it called? Viatek or something?
Yeah, in which they own everything.
And so they own Joby, Lowepro, Gitzo, Syrup, Ryko.
They own all Syrup? That's crazy.
National Geographic?
Wait, no way. Really?
Did they buy it? Or I wonder if they just...
Or this just like partnership.
Yeah.
It has to be a partnership.
It's a Manfrotto National Geographic partnership.
Oh, those are cool bags.
Those are cool.
Oh no! Don't show me these.
Don't get into bags.
I already am. What do you mean?
What's your favorite bag?
I don't have one. I hate all backpacks so far.
Have you seen mine? Do you like mine? My Think Tank?
No, I don't like it. It's too big. It's too clunky.
Too big.
Mine's too small, but I'm just using it because it's
free.
It's what I have. Yeah, and it's not.
Brevity.
It's got a good look to it at least. I like that.
They gave us a couple of those for Kinetica.
I have some of those wandered provoke packs, the one with the roll top. Not a fan of the roll top.
I don't like the roll top either.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I got the Peak Design, like really prestigious looking backpack with, it looks cool.
That's the one that
but I hate
everybody has.
Hate it. It's my least favorite backpack I think ever that I've ever used.
I like the zippers. I like the
duffel bag looks kind of nice.
I kind of like the material that they use.
It's a very beautiful backpack with a very nice. It's hold on, go to bags. It's the
everyday carry.
That one.
Yeah,
the one that's titled Backpack.
This is their most popular products probably.
Yeah.
Now.
So I think I got the charcoal. Yeah.
There's the all black. That's not bad. All black.
Yeah, and it looks great. Like it's a beautiful back, and it has some great features.
I disagree. I don't like the look. It looks kind of goofy.
I like the
flap thing looks dumb to me.
Well, I just like the materials. If anything,
I do love the materials. I love the quality of the zippers. The side thing.
This thing though is
I don't
awful.
like that. There's so many bags now. I think after Peak Design success, so many people copied this style. I hate it. I like the traditional, like the one that I have, which is you just unzip it and it's just a big grid of stuff.
Right. Which is nice, but the reason I don't like their bag specifically is because one, a lot of their little pouches on the side are like a little magnet in the middle instead of zippers. So you can't stick little like SD cards in there because they'll just fall out.
They'll fall out, yeah.
So that's one thing that I don't like. But two, everything just kind of moves around in there because it's just a big hollow cavity.
Yeah.
And then you have like the little support things in between, but those aren't that awesome at keeping things separated. Stuff's just falling around. Also, that pouch at the top, it's not a separate compartment. It bleeds down into the backpack. Yeah. So it's not like I can shove something in there and it's going to stay separate from all my camera gear. So it just bleeds down into the bag again. So I like this backpack. I haven't used it. I got to hold it and check it out at Photokina again.
This is the smallest one they have, 22L.
Yeah, I like that it's all separated, and that little like photography patch where you like zip it around, you can unzip it, grab your camera, put it back in.
Definitely fits your aesthetic.
Yeah, this to me is a much more useful design. Although you can't fit much gear in it, but the idea is like
you put everything in a pouch that then goes in the bag. Is that what this is?
If you go to a more side profile view of the bag, like this, that's that little bag. So all your camera stuff fits in there, and then what you do is it's just a little flap on the side, if I remember correctly, and you unhook it, and then you, without having to take off the bag, you can turn it around so it kind of becomes a fanny pack of camera gear, and you can take it out, shoot your photo that you want to get, because your bag, you never really want to take it off unless you're sitting down for a while when you're hiking, So it's kind of nice that you can just get your shot, put it back in, flip it back down, and
put it back in.
You can keep moving.
But then the top half is all of your stuff.
It's all your camping gear, food,
water,
whatever, mess kit.
Why don't you get one of these?
With
$250.
Yeah, I think I would like to get one eventually. I just haven't bothered.
Okay, I'm not gonna watch that.
No, I just haven't bothered to get it yet. But it does seem like, look at this little whoop. That's pretty smart,
That's really smart. It looks quick. It's basically a little fanny pack.
Yeah, like I said,
built into the backpack. Yeah, like you said, rotation 180. It's smart. It's well designed.
Yeah, there's another backpack that's just got a Kickstarter. That's another hiking camera bag that also looks pretty slick. Because I don't think this one has room for a computer.
Really?
I don't think it has probably space for a computer, but I don't think it has a slot for a computer. I could be wrong on that.
This one says one mirrorless with 2 or 3 lenses. Nothing about a computer.
Yeah. But what was that other one? It was called I can't remember. It was on I saw it on a Petapixel, I think, or something like that.
This is my favorite bag I've ever owned.
Is that the one you have now?
It's the one I have. The reason I love it is because it's just simple. It's small for what I need. And it gives me plenty of room, and I hate the side loading stuff. Yeah. I just want this basic top down thing.
Does it open from the front or the back?
Front.
I think it would be nicer if it opened from the back, don't you think?
Yeah, it's safer to do it that way.
Right.
Because then people can't unzip it. But convenience wise, this is the easiest.
Right.
And I can fit so much in here. I have my C70, an extra lens, my Olympus. I'm able to do all my work. I just went to New York for a weekend trip with my new job. Right. And I brought everything I needed for the shoot, my clothes and my toothbrush and everything in an extra pair of clothes in this one bag.
That's pretty nice.
So I didn't have any carry-ons other than that, and I didn't have any checked bags. It was great.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. The only thing I don't like about your pack is how much volume it has out. So it it kind of pulls you backwards in a way.
Sure. I need it with the C70. It's a thick camera.
That's true. So, yeah. I mean, it's the right tool for the right job. My stuff, it would be overkill.
It would be.
I got a little mirrorless camera. It doesn't need it.
What would be their they have smaller, I think this is their small one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I don't like how it looks. Urban Access.
Yeah.
13.
No, I don't like that either. Looks kind of like a trash can.
Yeah. Anyways, I love Think Tank. They're, I think, my favorite company when it comes to bags.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you got the, what's the company that makes the Peter McKinnon bag?
Nomad,
Is it?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah, talk about big bags.
the first issued bag is
Nomadic.
Nomadic. Yeah. Their first bag is ginormous. Like, I'm glad I didn't get it.
The 35L.
Yeah.
That's huge. And you can even go to 42. That's way too big.
Yeah, that one was massive. They just released a smaller one on Kickstarter. It was, I don't remember.
I kind of like their other bags, I guess. They're pretty sleek.
Yeah, very sleek. Nomadic makes some nice looking stuff too. It's kind of in that peak design,
Yeah.
Nice materials, luxury backpack.
2-in-1
brand.
everyday carry. That's nice.
That is nice.
That looks small and sleek and techy.
Right.
What can you put in here?
Stuff, probably.
This one isn't a camera bag.
20 plus innovative features. Okay.
For only $270. Good Lord.
Backpacks are expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you get into the camera bags. But,
Yeah.
I mean, mine is cheap compared to that.
It's true. Well, yeah. Again, it's that you're paying for the prestige. Like this, yours is all about function, it looks like.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is great. I mean, function's more important at the end of the day. Although I do like nice looking
something that looks
gear.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to follow up on the bag topic. Maybe you'll get a new bag eventually.
Maybe eventually. I also just don't care enough in a weird way. Even though I love backpacks and I have a ton, I also hate backpacks, and it's like I keep buying them and being disappointed. So
I have a video here that I wanted to watch together.
Sure.
You showed it to me. This is the voice of Halo.
If you've ever played Halo multiplayer, you've heard this guy's voice. It's iconic.
What's crazy is that I've heard his voice for so many years playing, Halo 2, Halo 1 were the ones that I grew up on.
Yeah.
And then that's where I stopped. I never went any further than
Okay.
that.
Fair enough.
But still, I'm familiar with the voice. Look
Yeah.
at this guy. This guy looks like he's in his 80s or 90s.
He's an older guy. It's just funny that
All right, here we go.
it's funny
We're
that
going
this
to
is
see
the
if
guy
we
that
can
has
do
this
a
really
little
cool,
recording.
intense voice.
And the things you wanted to hear, Johan, included
Looks like he's taking some requests
double
from
kill,
some fans.
Yeah.
triple kill, overkill, extermination, killionaire.
Oh my gosh, his
Capture the flag.
I love his
Yeah.
inflection and his facial expressions as he says that.
Yeah.
So intense. For our audio listeners, it probably sounds like what? It just sounds like Halo. But when you watch the video, it's that thing where you listen to maybe a radio show for so long,
Right.
and you never see that person,
Yeah.
and then you stumble across a billboard with a picture of that host, or you see a video.
It's the same thing with YouTube. They have all those YouTubers that are faceless YouTubers who
Yeah.
make content for a while. And then eventually they decide to include a face cam, and you're like, I don't like this anymore. That is
What
weird.
the
I
heck?
don't
This is
know.
weird.
Yeah, it's just like a weird feeling to put a voice to a face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially an iconic voice like this.
Yeah.
Same for the movie trailer guys,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I thought this was
Play ball. Slayer.
Slayer.
It's so funny. You can tell he enjoys it, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, totally. This guy looks like a total awesome guy.
Yeah.
and a good hang. Which leads me to some new news.
Nintendo.
The Nintendo Switch OLED.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's lame.
Okay.
There's my thoughts. I'm
So
sorry.
Connor's a Switch guy, and
I have one, yeah.
a lot of us, I'm sure a lot of the listeners here are also Nintendo fans. What are your thoughts on the OLED model?
It's $50 more for the same specs, but you get a slightly better screen, a slightly larger screen. Yeah, it should have been 4K. I mean, that's just it. If you wanted an upgrade that made people go, oh, I need this more than the one I already have,
Yeah.
then you should have just made it. It's not nice enough to make people want a different one. It's nice for people who don't have one.
Well, that's what I was about to say, is I'm a person sitting here
Yeah.
who has been watching Switch things happening around me for so long, and I've wanted to join in.
Okay.
And I do love Nintendo.
Yeah. It's a great company.
We've talked about my kind of lack of care for most video games.
Sure, which is fair.
The video games that I do enjoy are like Wii Sports.
Sure.
You know, I'm just one of those.
Well, you can't play Wii Sports on the Switch.
Oh, bummer.
It'd be Switch Sports, I guess.
Switch Sports.
Yeah.
Do they have a Wii Sports type of thing where you could play golf and tennis and bowling?
They just announced, or I think it's available now, Mario Golf.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
And they have Mario Tennis.
Heck yeah.
And probably Mario Bowling.
But that's the thing is, like, I love the super casual, family-friendly, like, games because it's stuff I can play with my wife, and eventually my kids can even join in.
Ryan probably could understand enough to play now.
My little almost 4-year-old, I can't believe it. So for me personally, now's the best time ever than to buy this for the first time.
Right. If you are Dave, this is exciting.
And I love the white.
It looks good. The screen looks nicer. It does. Like OLED screens are nicer. It's a larger screen, so it's very small bezels compared to the other one. It's kind of like an iPhone upgrade. You know,
but it's worse because it's the same processor and everything.
It's not any faster. It's still a 720p 720p screen, I think. But it's not even 1080.
But obviously it'll be crisper and the color will look better.
But it doesn't do anything new. There's nothing about it. And from what I understand, it's the same Joy-Cons, which are the little controllers, which have been notorious to have issues. So they didn't even upgrade the Joy-Cons. So
unless they did and didn't mention it,
it's true. They could just not be mentioning it.
Because it's embarrassing if it's a faulty product.
They could have just said improved Joy-Cons. That would have been a way to do it without directly addressing it, but they didn't say that.
It's weird that they spent all this money to make a commercial to make it seem as though this is a new product. It's really such an iteration on. It's
a slight upgrade, and also honestly, what I think is more funny about this commercial is that only adults are playing the console basically.
Yeah, and it's made for semi-small hands with the Joy-Cons.
No, I mean I just think it's funny. It's like they're totally advertising this towards adults, which is funny. Even though Nintendo is typically. I mean, I have a Nintendo. I enjoy it a lot. And I'm 24. But
the Switch Lite is maybe more for kids, I guess.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know, but
this is nice. The new wide adjustable stand.
Yeah, that's nice.
That'll be easier to play.
Here's the thing: is like you almost never take it out of the dock.
Mm-hmm.
It just sits. It's like the only time I've ever taken it out of the dock is like I'm flying somewhere and it's going to be 9 hours of travel, and I don't need to work on anything. I guess I'll bring my Switch.
So I have. Again, maybe I'm more of the demographic here because we have our living room and lots of things happen in the living room. The kids are there and whatever, and then sometimes Laura will work out or whatever while I work. Yeah, or we go to bed and like Laura doesn't want me to watch my shows downstairs when we're going to bed. She's like, "Hey, can we just be together?" And so I'll watch stuff on my iPad while she reads.
Sure.
And so like this fits my lifestyle where it's like I'm playing. The kids are in bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I start playing a game. And then Laura's like, "Hey, I'm going to bed. It's 10 o'clock. Can you come upstairs?" And so I then walk over, take my Switch out, and go upstairs and sit in the bed and play for another hour or two. Like that type of workflow works for me.
Workflow. That's a good choice of words for playing a video game.
So
it's a great workflow, Nintendo Switch.
And I think it's just like how Apple is where most customers probably keep their phone for at least 2 to 3 years before they upgrade.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why do they upgrade every year? People aren't getting phones every year. It's like, well, you might not be, but this might be someone else's 2 to 3 year cycle.
Right.
So you want to always be updating things to like have something available. The thing that I think is hilarious is when you look into the specs of the new Switch, it is the same internals, and it's $50 more than the old one.
Just for the OLED screen.
But the technology, like for the processor and all that, has surely gone down in terms of price than when it initially came out.
Yeah, usually
4 years ago.
That's what I was talking to my brother about this, who's also into this kind of stuff, and I was telling him, I said it should have been either the same price or cheaper. Because that's just how stuff works.
It should have been the same price.
Right. Because it's like when the Xbox One came out, it was $500. But then when I got the upgraded model, which was faster, better in every way, I got it for like $300. So it's $200 cheaper in a couple of years.
I think, that would be sensible. I feel like what they really should have done is knocked the original Switch down $50 and then make this the new like 300, right? So it's like, okay, here's the new one. It's $300, and starting now, the one that you could have bought yesterday is now $250.
Right.
And like that's
or even two,
or
honestly.
even two, but they won't do that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Again, for people like you, it makes sense. It's obviously buy the better version, you know.
I love this article by The Verge. Nintendo never needed to fix the Switch. It's not broken, except the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, except the Joy-Cons. Yeah. No, the Switch it's a great console. I do enjoy it.
I love the white on black. I don't know what it is. It just feels so modern, and it's probably because PS5 or whatever looks like this.
Yeah, but we're back on the white is coming back kind of a thing, which it does look good. So I guess that's fine. But I feel like white loses its niceness faster.
Yeah. But anyways,
so we'll see.
It's all about the games at the end of the day, and
sure. They got good games.
I've kind of gone through. Now that I have this like new kind of normal job kind of thing, like I've been playing guitar again. I've been like playing table tennis. And I whipped out my Game Boy recently, and you borrowed it for a week or whatever. And I've been playing that.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of just rediscovering some things that I kind of forgot about when I was so in the YouTube world these last 3 years. So I really am honestly probably going to pick one of these up.
You should pick one up soon. I don't know when they
October,
drop. Yeah, you should pick one up quick because the way anything tech is going right now, that first week is about as available as it'll ever get. And then
especially before the holidays, I mean, this thing's going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, I mean, you still can't buy the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, and it came out a year ago.
So basically, I need to look at all the forums, figure out the best way to get one, and just get it as soon as possible.
Just Amazon probably, but just be one of the first people to click buy.
Do they do pre-orders, or is it like...
I don't know.
I'll look at it later.
Yeah, now's not the time.
It's like a reflex, like when we're so used to just looking things up on the internet, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, everything's still rolling, so we're good. We're using the Olympus camera for Connor's shot here, and I'm using the Atomos recorder.
Which we got kind of this teal... I mean, at least on the Atomos, it looks kind of like a teal-orange thing going on with that, like... tungsten slash here.
There's a little standing lamp here. I don't know if you can see in the shot, and then the old C70 on me here. I wish I had two C70s, but I'm not a millionaire, guys. So last thing I wanted to talk about is something that we've been saving for the podcast all day. We've been talking on the phone. Yeah. And you're like, I bought something.
I have bought something.
And you're like, I feel like I should save it for the podcast.
Right.
But I'm like, no, save it. You kept trying to tell me.
Right.
I think I have an inkling of what it is, but tell me what
because
it is.
I inevitably told you something.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. So, I like old things. I have a weird fascination with antique anything. And so that includes camera stuff. And so I got the Helios lens, which was really cool. And I made a video about it, but the history of the lens, it has a great history.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to do it again, I kind of wanted to get a different lens that has like historical prominence,
Yeah.
And so I was doing some research on World War II photographers, just in general, just kind of siphoning through stuff. I was hanging out with my buddy Malachi at a local coffee house. And so I came across this photographer, Joseph Rosenthal, I think is his name. Who, and he is the guy who took one of the most influential photos in history. It was the photo of the American soldiers raising the flag at Iwo Jima.
Yeah. I feel like statues have been made of that.
Oh, yeah. There's a big statue made of it, I think, in D.C. I'm not really sure where it is.
What's his name again?
His name is Joseph Rosenthal. So rose, like the flower, and then Thal.
I feel like I've heard his name too.
Yeah. And so I was doing research into him as a photographer, and he has a great story in history.
That's the classic image.
That's him in the top left here. And then that image, I mean, when you look at it, it's just very inspirational looking photo.
The photo actually looks like a sculpture because I'm so used to the sculpture, but that's a real picture.
It got smaller. There we go. A lot of people were criticizing him, saying that it was a staged photo. But if you go through the history, it was not. It was not a staged photo. It was just happening. But Iwo Jima is actually a horrific battle. And if you do the history into that, it's hear what people went through that. I mean, it's pretty crazy. But the image out of it was pretty spectacular, and they used that photo to raise billions of dollars for the war effort. So it's won a Pulitzer Prize. Very, very influential photo.
Of course.
So I was like, okay, this is great. This is great information, and all this is going to be in my YouTube video. So sneak peek for you guys. Whenever I make the video, it's going to take me weeks to make this because I'm gonna do a lot of history. I want to try my best to confirm information, get it from multiple sources and stuff. But
yeah,
I found out what camera he used, which was called a Graflex Speed graphic camera, which is a 4x5 large format camera. I didn't realize that it was a large format camera at the time because I don't know much about large format cameras at all.
Is it medium format?
Large.
Large
So format.
Bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually interviewed a guy, Ben Horn, on this show, who is a large format photographer.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite episodes, honestly, that I listened to it twice because I listened to it 3 times actually, because I listened to it in the recording room and I listened to it while I was editing it. Then I listened to it again just because it was really interesting.
Dude, he is unbelievable. And I feel like you and him would be like best friends.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy. He had like a little magnifying glass, if you remember, in the studio. And we were like, I can't do it without. And we were like looking down at the
it's okay.
At the image with the magnifying glass. And it was incredible. It's like, oh, here's a picture of a forest. But then you like use the magnifying glass. It's like, oh, that's a picture of a leaf.
Yeah, he brought a print, or it was like a piece of celluloid or something, and then a light box.
Yeah.
And it was just this massive print from the large format. And you use a little loop, and you can just look at the detail. And obviously there's no pixels. It's like real film. So you can just see everything. It's amazing. But yeah, that's what these cameras look like.
Yeah, big accordion-looking camera, essentially. Anyways, I don't know a lot about large format cameras, so I didn't realize that it was large format. I thought it was medium format. But I was trying to figure out what the lens was, because that's what I wanted to make the video on.
Yeah.
I couldn't find what lens he used for the image. And I was doing hours of research, and I was like listening to interviews with him, and I found an interview where he said that he used a normal lens. He's like, I was using a normal lens.
It's like a normal focal length?
Normal as in focal length.
It'd have to be a 50 equivalent, right?
That's what I was thinking. So I was like, okay, 50 millimeter equivalent. It's a medium format camera, which it was not, but I was thinking that. So that's roughly anywhere between like a 90 to a 100 is what you're kind of looking for, right? And so I was like, okay. And so what I was doing is I found a photo of him by the Associated Press where he was posing next to his camera, supposedly with the lens that he was using at the time, I would assume. And so I was kind of like looking at that photo, zooming in, and it was like a super low res image, and it's like super blurry. I'm like, okay, there's like a little knobby thing over here. This lens has a little knobby thing over there. And so I'm like going back and forth, and I thought I found it. I thought it was the Kodak Ektar 101 millimeter f4.5 lens.
Okay.
I think it was f4.5, right? So I was like, I found it. And I was telling Malachi, I'm like, I found the lens. This is it. It looks like the one in the image. And it's a normal lens on medium format. This is it. So then I was trying to find that lens to buy on eBay. And as I was kind of looking around, I kept seeing that like the numbers weren't matching up because they kept saying that was for a 2x3 camera. And I was like, no, but they said 4x5 in the article was his Graflex camera. And I was like, okay. So I did more research. It turns out 4x5 is twice the size of medium format. Right. So I was like, oh, so I'm wrong. And so I end up doing a couple more hours of research.
Jeez.
Long story short, I'm literally looking at like archives, like warehouse archives of like what lens maybe he had. I was trying to look up museums. I tried to call a museum.
You are so obsessed. I love it.
Yeah,
this is
I
great.
tried to call the museum. They did not answer. And But what I
And
ended
if they did, they'd be like, "What? No,
yeah,
we don't.
yeah,
We don't know."
Sure. I was
It's
just
just
trying
some kid at a
I was just
museum.
I was just trying to figure this out. I was like super invested in trying to find this dumb lens. Well, I found a CNN article actually about it. It was like some anniversary of the photo. And in there, it was the only mention of a lens that I found on any article. And they said he used a 127 millimeter lens.
Which lines up with the large format.
Which lines up with large format. And
because,
I was like,
again, that's a normal on a large.
and I was like, okay, this is good. By the way, they knew his settings of his camera. They were like, he shot it at 400 a shutter, 1/400th of a second shutter, and they said he shot it at f11.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, they knew that for some reason, but they didn't say what the lens was. But after
Cool.
after a little more research, I think I got it. It was the Kodak Ektar 127 millimeter large format lens. So now the only issue I'm gonna have is,
Can I look that up real quick?
yeah,
Was that so? Kodak
Ektar.
AK.
Yeah, EK tar. Yep.
One-
127 millimeter f4.7.
There it is.
That is it.
Beautiful.
If you go to images, hopefully we can find a decent photo of
They're
it. Yeah.
small.
They're small. They
I mean, which lines up with he was in the field with them.
well, the camera is actually kind of a tank still.
But you don't want you still
This
want
kind of looks like the one I ended up getting. Oh, well, yeah, it was not the black or silver. It kind of had like this goldish tinge to it, so to speak. That one.
this one.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's the one that I ended up finding.
$100. It's not bad.
Not bad. I ended up picking one up that was refurbished and cleaned.
That's you usually want to do that when
And so it ended up costing me a little more than $100. I think I ended up paying like $170, but I think it'll be worth it. But now my issue is, and I was reaching out to a buddy of mine in California who shoots on like medium format cameras, and I was
What's
like,
his name?
His name is Tyler, and I'm not sure how I'm going to adapt it.
Justine's guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We interviewed him too.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was asking him if maybe he would know how I can adapt that lens to my camera.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not,
Your camera is not even full
it's
frame.
APS-C.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple more hours of research, and I found some forum where a guy he didn't say it was that specific lens, but he said it was Kodak Ektar lenses that he was using. So essentially, hopefully that. And he said he got basically an adapter to an adapter kind of a thing. And then another adapter. So 3 adapters. 3 adapters to hopefully get it to
a Fuji.
a Fuji.
Nice.
So I'm going to pick those up and kind of see if I can get it to work. But anyways, all that to say.
You should pick up a film camera too and like do a side by side with that. And
Yeah, I can maybe do that later.
I feel like you're getting so close to almost transitioning your channel to a film camera channel.
I'm getting close, yeah.
Because you have all the makings of a film photographer.
Right.
Of the obsession of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I just like old stuff and history.
You're going to have to like learn a lot about developing and exposing and stuff. But it's fun too.
It is fun. So anyways, this video that I'm going to make is probably 4 weeks out because one, the lens has to get here. It's not here yet.
Okay.
Then I have to see if I can't get it to adapt to my camera. And then I have to, get all my research together. I did for my Helios one, I had like a, what's the works cited page? I haven't been in school in a while. I did like a works cited page in the description to like show where I got all my information so that like, I'm not trying to mislead anyone.
And by the way, you keep referencing the Helios film. I want to encourage everybody to go watch it. A wonderful piece of work that you did. Was that a year ago now, or
honestly, yeah, maybe a little over a year.
Let's see.
April. I did it in April, I think, of last year, so a little over a year.
Yeah, it sometimes the like really well made like story driven type things don't perform as well as like top 10 reasons why you should buy the EOS R.
Yeah.
You shouldn't let that be discourage you because the film it needs like, why do we do what we do? We do it because it's fun and it's something we enjoy. And this is a piece of work that you can watch over and over with your family, with your friends.
Yeah.
Like you can enjoy this as a piece of work that you made.
Right.
Like,
And I did really enjoy making it, so that's why I'm doing another one, not because it did well.
Look at that! Look at short hair Connor.
Yeah,
Wow.
different time.
I forgot what you looked like.
I look like that.
Yeah, with the short hair.
I might do it again because it is hot in Tennessee. Let me tell you.
I mean, it's hot in where you were living too, but it was dry.
It was dry. Yeah. So honestly, it feels.
So what I loved about this piece is that you weren't just doing like a review of the lens. You kind of said like, hey, there's all these YouTubers that talk about this thing. It's great. But like, here's actually the history of it.
Right.
And you kind of, I mean, you just shared briefly what your video is going to be.
I shared a lot of what it's going to be, actually.
Because you just gave us the history lesson of it.
I'll go more in depth. Honestly, I think I shared more just the background of me trying to figure out what the lens was.
Which I think in of itself is awesome. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Maybe I'll make another video that's that.
I mean, honestly, you could, as I was sitting here hearing you say all that, like it could totally work as a YouTube video. Like, the process of you finding all this out is interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm also considering just making it all one big video and then just in the beginning basically being like, okay, guys, this is a doozy and we're going down a rabbit hole. So it's like, get your coffee and sit down. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, it might do really well for you.
Maybe.
Everybody go watch the Helios film that you made. You kind of go over the history of it. You have some cool stock footage and not stock footage. It's like
wartime footage. Yeah. So
about the Russian kind of background of it, and I mean, amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one. I'd love to do more of these. Hopefully, people can appreciate them for what they are, and they're interesting.
Do one a month, every month for the next year, and see what happens.
One a month for That's all I would do.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's like Mark Rober. He does like one video every 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, I'd have to buy a new thing every single time though. I'd be losing money on these videos, quite a bit of money.
Well, yeah, but if I think the Patreon thing makes sense in that context. It's like, hey, if you enjoyed watching this film,
I haven't ever considered that.
It's hard for me to do these because it's a whole month of my time and it costs me money to buy these. You know, if you guys want to support me, there's a link. You don't.
I'll consider it.
Yeah, have your own Connor McCaskill Discord.
Yeah, there we go.
Like Zach.
Yeah, his Discord is popping off, man, dude.
It's awesome.
They will not stop talking there about cameras, which is cool, but it's like, this is a lot. Like, I need a break.
Yeah, I don't do Discord. I tried it, and I was like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I already manage my social media stuff. Like, I don't want another thing.
Yeah.
But it's cool for him, and I'm glad he's doing it, building that community up. So maybe we should do a GH Pod Discord. No, we're not going to. Sorry, guys.
Maybe a Reddit.
That'd be cool.
Reddit could be fine.
I don't know how that works. I think you have to have someone else make it or something. I don't know.
I have no idea how Reddit works. I have the app, and I never open it.
How about this? If you want to join in the conversation, leave a comment down below, like and subscribe to the Golden Hour Podcast. And if you're listening to the audio right now, go over to youtube.com/ghpod and hit that subscribe button, enable that bell notification. We're going to be continuing these types of episodes where Connor and I talk about photography and Nintendo Switch. And
I mean, at this point, it's kind of like, hey, we talk about cameras plus some other weird stuff.
So hopefully you guys are enjoying these. Please let me know in the comment section of the YouTube video your thoughts. Give Connor an old follow on the old Instagram and YouTube, of course. And enable bell on his channel too, so you can be notified when this video goes live that you're talking about.
Yeah, it could be cool, could be fun.
Heck yeah.
I'll talk about it more on here, I'm sure.
So thanks again, guys, for tuning in on the Golden Hour Podcast, brought to you by the Polar Pro Studio. All these cameras that we talked about work great for Polar Pro filters. So if you don't have any ND filters, variable neutral density filters, or if you have a drone, I think Polar Pro's specialty, in my opinion, is really the drone stuff. I mean, they make the best DJI filters.
Maybe we should make a whole podcast. Maybe not a whole podcast.
We could do a whole Polar Pro.
We could do a segment about just like ND filters and the purpose, because honestly, it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And leave some segment ideas down in the comments as well. I had some people say, hey, could you guys talk about lighting or like different tutorials in these shows? And I think this new format, like we're still experimenting with, and we're trying to figure this thing out. As you can see in this episode, we only have 2 cameras, and I'm like, Connor's just cutting, on
the middle somewhere.
How you see right now.
Yeah.
I feel like this is better because the wide shot always looked kind of crappy and like distorted and weird, and it's just an extra angle you have to cut to.
Yeah. So, also, we're still gonna hopefully get a dedicated space one day where it can be more set up
and just always there.
Yeah.
However, I kind of like the setup with the monitor. Like it's small. Maybe I could reconfigure my studio in my bedroom to be more like this, so that it's a little, I have this much room in my room.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I do have screaming babies at that house. So that's
that's part of it.
Well, thanks again, Connor, for coming on the show. Thank you for listening. Once again, I'm your host, Dave Mays, and we'll see you next week.